Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Tomorrow $50 на шторы, I fly, welcome to hell. Я ни хрена не понял. Короче, ребята, привет. Сегодня мы играем в Stanley чего-то там. Посоветовали мне эту игру. Первый раз зашел, даже понятия не имею, что это за жанр. Короче, как я понял из этого диалога, мы играем какой-то офисной крысой. Что делать-то можно? Ходить можно. Ну, хорошо.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ох, что тут голос у меня в голове.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Бегать нельзя, садиться нельзя. Садиться можно.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
he
entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth
Кто за мной двери закрывает? За мной лакей, швейцар ходит постоянно.
Just to spend a few moments here in this, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Да не пойду я. Я сюда хочу.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Так. Я что-то не понимаю, что мне делать-то надо. Просто ходить? Лифт?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
Я так понял, этот голос комментирует все мои действия.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten.
Дайте мне лом, я буду как в Half-Life. Смотри, даже чем-то похожи все эти, как сказать, интерьеры. А, не, прыгать-то нельзя же. Дождаться. Сейчас хэдкрабы полезут.
Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
О, во тьму, вперед. Ой-ой-ой.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out.
Это не мне. И чё?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Кто ты?
Alright.
Чё за фигня?
Okay, there we go. Alright, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on.
Я хочу уйти.
Did you actually think you had a
Дайте мне.
loving wife?
Почему не ходит?
They want to
Давайте
commit their
уйдем.
life to you. I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something.
I don't
Come
understand
inside.
you.
Let me show you what's really going on.
Думаю, ты
here.
меня тоже. Да ну нахрен, я не пойду туда. Ну ладно, дай зайдем.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Это я зря, да?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of
Я
his
ничего не понимаю
existence.
пока что, ребят. Ну и чё, ты будешь
Look at him
проверять,
there,
знаю я
pushing
где клавиши, что ли?
buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing
Причем
a button.
отзывы у игрухи,
Now
я смотрел
he's eating
в
lunch.
Стиме.
Now
Отзывы
he's
очень такие
going
положительные.
home.
Но я пока
Now
ничего не понимаю
he's coming
абсолютно.
back to work. One might even feel sorry for
Дай
him,
мне автомат
except that he's
какой-нибудь.
chosen
Что?
this life.
Я... Это какой-то прикол, да?
But in his mind, in his
Выпустите
mind,
меня.
he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions
Нахрен
into
я
the
сюда зашел, а?
unknown,
Надо было дальше идти по коридору.
fantastic discoveries of new
Ну давай,
lands.
теперь ты, давай
It was
теперь G
wonderful.
нажмем, да?
And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Я сейчас английский выучу. О,
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that
Уйди,
all
да
of
я
his
воду включу, не
co-workers,
знаю.
his
Дайте мне
boss,
что-нибудь сделать-то.
everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
я
The
сяду вот здесь в
thought
углу и буду плакать.
excited him terribly.
Какого хрена?
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors
Какого хрена
and
я
that he
делаю?
could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful
Слышь,
to
большой
behold.
брат, где ты там? Я умер уже. Я умер, и я в аду, я все понял. Как? На что мне тут
As he
нажать?
wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and
Почему все
destinations.
поменялось?
Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby.
Это
And
какой-то,
he
это
called
этот,
it
офисный
the
ад,
Stanley
короче.
Parable.
Каким детям? Что за упоротость?
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing
Нахрен
beyond
я
hope
сюда
that it would never
зашел, а?
end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one
Какое-то
more
развитие вообще
time.
будет у этой ситуации, нет? Пожалуйста. Без проблем.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is
Что
pushing
вот-
the same
что
buttons he
происходит?
always has.
Что?
Nothing
Я
has
здесь умру.
changed.
Я тебе
The longer
отвечаю,
he
я здесь умру.
spends here, the more
Дай я себе
invested he gets,
калашом,
the more
карандашом
he
в глаз
forgets
воткну, не
which
знаю.
life is the real one.
Пойти спать,
And I'm
давайте
trying
пойдем
to
спать,
tell
без
him
проблем.
this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. He
Вот
won't
киллинг
listen
я
to me.
понял.
He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
А что он сказал, типа, когда я скажу нажать следующую клавишу, не делай этого? Или... Не знаю, английский. Да, пофиг, давай.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that
Что?
every second he remains here, he's electing to
Да
kill
хуже уже не
himself?
будет.
How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Не, ну а что, у меня есть какой-то вариант, что ли, кроме этого? Ну
I
давай.
suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different.
Я
I
сейчас
suppose.
вскроюсь. Есть какой-нибудь
I'll
нож
try once
канцелярский, я
more
не
to
знаю.
convey this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps.
В чем суть
Maybe
игры-то,
this time
блин?
you'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And Stanley,
Без проблем. А я готов, братан.
and Stanley pushed a button.
Что?
And I
Мне сейчас... Вот... Мне нужен ромашковый чай. Ведро. Так. Короче.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Заткнись, упырь.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Мы больше
Perhaps
не
he had
ногой
simply
туда.
missed a memo.
Это, я так понял, какие-то варианты надо выбирать, да?
When
Так.
Stanley came to a set of two
Вот
open
сюда
doors,
Стэнли
he
идет.
entered the door on his left.
Сейчас все будет нормально у нас.
Yet there was not a single person here
Ненавижу закрытые
either.
помещения
Feeling a
теперь.
wave
У
of
меня клаустрофобия
disbelief,
после этой игры.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Так,
Coming to a
наверх
staircase,
пойдем.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Давай, давай, рассказывай, сейчас. Так. Так, опять какая-то фигня сейчас начнется.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
Так, ладно, мне
What he
нужен
could not
какой-то
have
код.
known was that the keypad behind the
А где мне
boss's
его найти?
desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from
Меня
him.
запарил этот
And
голос.
so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of
Чего?
course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known
Чего он
this.
сказал? Чего вот он сказал? Я не запомнил.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs.
Подождем.
Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
2945, что ли?
Stanley's 2845.
Это я сейчас сидел, высчитывал на пальцах, короче.
Yet incredibly, by simply
Ух,
pushing
я
random
знаю
buttons on
английский.
the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code.
Это что за фигня?
by
Сейчас они
sheer
еще газ
luck.
мне сюда пустят.
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Так. Вот надо посмотреть там наверх. Погоди-ка. Тут есть субтитры. Только субтитры. А интересно, они русские? Ну ладно. Ну давай, чё. Поехали. Ну давай, вот когда ты нужен, чё ты молчишь? Где там у меня субтитры-то? Странная игра. И почему вообще одни... Ничего не понятно.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley
Отлично.
realized he felt a bit
Извини, что я играл
peculiar.
без
It
субтитров.
was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Так.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Станция управления Выход. Пойдем, выйдем.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Слушай, интересно. А ну давай сходим. Только вот без этого, без мани. А этот коридор когда-нибудь кончится вообще?
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Нет, мы пойдем до конца. Интересно же.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Вот с субтитрами стало намного прикольнее играть. Что за газовая камера? Уи! Но с субтитрами реально стало прикольнее, хотя бы так себе. Да никак. Так, ну я так понимаю, что мы начинаем заново, да? А, нет.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
Вы меня сейчас расплющите,
Stanley
да?
can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow
В общем,
vision of what
я так понимаю, это глубоко
Perhaps his
философская
death
игра
would
на
have
самом
been
деле.
loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and
Да, по-моему,
willingly
нам хана.
accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life.
Да, давайте, ребята, пока.
Stanley.
Погнали.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the
как
machine
мило.
crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
А почему я жив?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead
Я тебе
from the
точно
moment
говорю,
he hit
это
start?
глубоко философская игра. Куда тут идти-то? Ничего не понятно. Тут, наверное, что-то очень мудрое написано. Но поскольку я ничего не понимаю... Ну, кстати, вот когда я врубил субтитры, стало играть реально прикольно. Делать весь этот выбор так. Куда идти? Как тут? Дайте я в окно выйду вообще. Да, блин, я не понимаю, куда идти. Что, он тут телефон, да? Можно же? Я даже не знаю, ждать или нет. Ну, конечно, подождем, а чё? Звонок. Ладно. Что тут не надо делать? О! Подожди, а мы сюда ходили? Или нет? Неважно, пошли.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Пока ничего не понимаю, что тут происходит.
But listen to me.
Почему
You
я
can
в
still
своем...
save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now. It'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Может, и надо было. Ну ладно. Так, что дальше? Дальше офис или опять меня в этот... В особняк меня отправит в этот... Все? Все, капец. Я буду теперь всю жизнь смотреть на черный экран. Слушай, а реально можно только выйти. Ты прикинь? Судя по всему. Странноватая игруха. Вот, так что... Ну, дальше пробежимся. Хотя... Может быть, уже и хватит. А то серия получится большая, ты смотреть не будешь. давай, пожалуй, закончим. Такой вот у нас странный первый взгляд. Подписывайся. Жду от твоих комментариев, лайков, значит, жду. Если понравилось, будем снимать дальше эту игру. Пока.